Pitt and Michigan State for 1 year. But baseball was my first love.
And always has been. And it's been basically it's been our way of getting to know you. I once wrote that your voice is what baseball would sound like if baseball could talk. And I honestly believe that.
So to see me?
But you mastered, in my mind, you mastered not only the rhythm of the game, which is laconic and slow. It's wonderful that it doesn't have to speed up, it doesn't have a clock on it. But you also knew when to lay out, which I think is an important lesson in life too. You know, the great jazz musician Dizzy Gillespie, towards the end of his life, said, "It took me my whole life to learn what not to play." Mm-hmm. And isn't that also from broadcasting when not to talk?
I think that's very important. I think the major thing that an announcer has to remember is the game's the same. Like Shakespeare said, the play's a thing. Yeah. In baseball, the game's a thing. And nobody tunes in to hear any one announcer. They tune in to find out what the score is and are the Tigers losing or winning or whatever. And baseball is such a great game for an announcer because in my era, I was very fortunate. People would come into an area, and a fellow like Jack Buck or Brickhouse or Harry Carey, and dominate a region. People would love him. Vince Scully in Brooklyn, and Red Barber and Mel Allen in New York, and he'd become part of the family. Mm-hmm. And they'd take him to the beaches and the mountains and the kitchen and wherever in the car, and he was always a part of the family. They grew up through generations, and I think that's a great responsibility for the announcer, and I'm so happy that God gave me the little gift I had of announcing so that I could bring that to people and maybe in some way spread the good news at the same time.
Well, there's been many people sitting in their cars at night listening to you, wafting across the radio. One of the great joys of being able to pick you up late at night when Tigers won WJR and you could hear it all across the country was tuning in that scratchy, no, there's Ernie's voice. And I think I speak for everybody out there when I say that your voice, especially when you were far away from home or away from Detroit, and you could hear suddenly, there's Ernie Harwell. You were back home, you know, wherever you were, whatever car you were in, bus, back of somebody's house with a transistor, you were back home because you heard Ernie Harwell. And that's a remarkable thing to be able to give people a sense of home. You talk about home in heaven. We talk about home here on earth in Detroit. But you are, to us, our home.
Thank you.
And your voice is our home, and your personality is our home.
Thank you.
Ernie, I know Ernie's been very kind to give us this much time, and probably against every one of his doctor's recommendations. There's probably like a gaggle of doctors out there going, "Are you crazy? Get back in the car!" You know. But Ernie's doing what he wants to do. Ernie, you're probably familiar. You're probably familiar with the work that we're doing with the homeless here and everything tonight. And one of the things that we're very proud of, and I've told you about this, and Gary's had a chance to see it, and it's a clinic for homeless children. It's the first one of its kind in America. It's open 24 hours, 7 days a week. We have a terrible problem with homeless children in our area here because many times if homeless children are taken to hospitals and they don't have an address and they go to an emergency room, they can be taken away by social services. And consequently, a lot of parents will not bring their children for medical care if they're homeless. And we have homeless kids that we've seen in this clinic here that they're 9 years old and it's the first time they're seeing a doctor.
Wow.
And much of the money that we're going to raise tonight, or Dr. Phil came by, much of the money that we're raising here tonight is going to help the homeless, including this clinic. There's a room in this clinic, which you see right there, and you see the walls are painted in a mural and everything, where kids are playing. We built this room colorfully and with cartoon characters on the wall and with toys, so that kids wouldn't be scared when they came in to see a doctor. And when we were thinking tonight of just trying to do something small, because, we're going to do something big as far as contributions to your charities and your efforts here like that. And I want to point out that Ernie's been so kind in his life. I don't want to keep him here, so I'm not going to start listing the list of the great things that he's done or the kindness for the community. But one of the nicest and most personal, I think, was that you donated almost everything of your memorabilia over the years. I mean, all those collections to the Detroit Public Library, just donated. You think of what that stuff's worth. And he donated to the library system here over the years in the main library. And because those children to me symbolize our hope and our youth and our fun, and because you, at least to me, have always symbolized youth and fun and summer and baseball and hope, we have decided to name that play area the Ernie Harwell Playroom, and your face will always be up there on that.
Isn't that great? Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
So you keep that one. And that way, all children everywhere will know when they're in there and they're feeling secure and safe and home, they'll be able to look up on the wall and say, Ernie Harwell, okay, that's why. And you'll be looking down on them. So please keep that. We'll have another one that we'll put in the room. And it is now, as of whatever time it is now officially the Ernie Harwell Playroom. Ernie, I want to...
Thank you.
Although you usually let the game have its last word, I want to let you have the last word in terms of speaking. And is it possible, Rosie, I know I'm throwing you a curve, but the lights here are blinding and it's hard to tell how many people are actually in here. Is it possible for a moment to just turn the house lights up so that Ernie can see all these people who are here, even on the top? At the upper level.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Let me... This is the first time I've seen signs inside. Usually they will bring them to a stadium. Let me give you the opportunity to... One more question, folks, and then we can give Ernie the one more standing ovation. Your opportunity to have the last word here tonight. What would you like to say to the people of Detroit who have listened to you, who have loved you, who are praying for you, who are with you in every which way that you've been with us? I should not be talking last. You should. So you finish up.
Well, thank you. First of all, Mitch, I want to congratulate you again on finding out what heaven is for, reaching out the way that Robert Browning tells us to reach out. That's a fantastic thing. You've done it for years and years. And the fact that you make so much contribution to the homeless and all the other causes. I want to thank you for having me here. But folks, I'd like to say that one of the greatest honors I could have bestowed upon me is to be here and look in the faces that I've talked to and never seen before. But I know that maybe some of you at one time turned the radio on. And the great thing about a radio, you can always cut it off. Thank you, and God bless you.
Ernie Harwell, ladies and gentlemen.
Here we go. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Ernie.
All right, guys.